Hello again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Orange
It is that time, your favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews and your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. Rock, Lindsay, Sutton, and Judy. We are the Mile High Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. Hello again, Broncos country, and welcome to the official Orange Weekly kickoff of the NFL 2020 season. We are glad to be here, and we will be here every Tuesday night from here on out through the rest of the season, and we are excited to do so. So lots of stuff to break down. If you're new and you're watching us for the first time, welcome. Go ahead and hit that share button. A little bit about us. Post those comments, post those questions. We're here to talk to you. We're not here to just talk to ourselves. We talk to ourselves all the time on our group chat, and frankly, Jared gets really annoying after a while, but you know, that's why we do this really at the end of the day. So welcome everyone. Glad you're here. And as always, I have a really great lineup of people that we'll bring in here today. So Jared, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. How have you been, Kev?
You know, off season was a little too long.
Yeah, well, apparently I annoyed you a little bit too much to
I think I'm gonna pick on somebody every week because you guys pick on me all the time. So if I'm doing the intro, anyway,
right.
Fair.
You know,
No, that's
got Ayla.
right. I'm not allowed to talk while you're saying that part, so I have no rebuttal.
Ayla, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm good. I'm hanging in there. That took a long time, but we're here and I'm ready for football. I mean, I don't think opening game can get here fast enough.
Right.
Well, Ayla said it. That's for darn sure.
No preseason games, but we got a lot to talk about. David, how you doing?
Oh, man. It's another beautiful day in Broncos country, isn't it, Kev?
Oh, I mean, every day, especially now I'm back here in Colorado.
Mm.
Talk about
What's the weather like that out there in Colorado right now? It's pretty hot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Spicy.
90s. It's not great. You know, there's fires.
No.
It's
I heard.
Yeah, I mean, California's got their share too, but it's it's that time of year.
It sure is. Mm-hmm. Hey, we got John up in here. How you doing, man? We are also proud, blue and orange, and this is going to be a pretty exciting season. A lot of stuff to look forward to. And while we wait for all of you to start posting some comments and questions, we are going to talk about the O-line. Tonight's going to be really focused on the offense, but of course, you know, we're here for you guys and talk about what you want. But let's go ahead and start with the wide receivers. I think they got a lot of promise. You know, obviously we drafted some huge names just Jerry Jeudy alone is such a huge steal. But David, we'll just kind of start with you. What are big thoughts on wide receiver? And, you know, there's the number 3 position open. And looking at the depth, do we even have, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, so like you were saying, Jerry Jeudy at number 15 in this year's draft could be one of the biggest steals out there. The early reports from practice are that his route running is absolutely as advertised. Elite level route running from a guy just out of college is not something you're really used to seeing at the wide receiver position. These guys really do run a really limited route tree at most schools nowadays. But Jeudy is a product of Alabama. You know, that's as pro style as you're going to get anywhere in college football. So we could expect him to really come in and know those routes forward and backwards. And like I said, the reports from training camp have really borne that out. The coaches and the defensive players have really been talking him up. As far as the number 3 position right now, it's kind of a wide open battle. KJ Hamler has been, rotating in with the second team, sometimes with the first team. He's a guy who probably needs a little bit more polish as far as his route running goes. Tim Patrick is a name that I keep hearing just as far as, a backup to Sutton. Yes, Jared, it makes Jared very, very happy.
Yeah.
And as a capable backup to Sutton, if nothing else, you're going to see a lot of snaps for Patrick early on as these rookies try to acclimate themselves. So that's really what I think we're looking at now. Deshaun Hamilton is still in the mix. He came on last year at the end with, a little more competent quarterback play and had a decent end of the season. But I would say it's really between Hamler and Patrick right now to kind of take up those wide receiver 3 snaps. Noah Fant's probably going to be the third biggest pass catcher on this team for a little while, at least.
Yep. Also, we got Keith in here. How you doing, Keith? John. Oh, it's
Yes.
going to be.
Boye said after one of the practices, he said that his route running is exactly like Amari Cooper, which is crazy because Amari
can't
Cooper's obviously
imagine.
very good.
Yeah,
Right,
cool.
to have that right off
Very
the
good
bat.
wide receiver.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest reasons wide receivers have such a trouble acclimating to the league is the route running that's required. You can't just get away with being a straight line guy in the NFL. Guys are too fast.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have seen any of Judy's videos from over the summer, I mean, the guy, his footwork is crazy, and it seems like he's always on it. I mean, he's really, his work ethic, his practice, it's like he didn't take a summer, he didn't take any time off. He's just been hammering to it. So that's what I like to see.
Absolutely.
That's the big story, I think.
Well, that's it.
I
Go
think
ahead there.
we obviously have a lot of depth here at wide receiver, but we got to think about it. So if we're running 3 wide receivers set, right, in this new offense, we got to think about how many receivers we're going to be holding on to as we start heading into the regular season. Seeing as there's no preseason games and we have to cut down right away, we got to look at what's been happening in practice. Obviously, our top 2 picks, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, they're going to stick around. Cortland Sutton's obviously the number 1. Who gets that second spot, depending on what they're looking for, Deshaun Hamilton, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler. I do think Deshaun Hamilton is in that running for that third spot because he did play very well towards the end of the year last year as well as Tim Patrick. Once they started getting a little bit of gel with Drew Lock, it ended up working a lot better. So who gets that third spot, I'm not sure. But you got to think of what other depth we're going to keep at wide receiver because we have guys like obviously Deontay Spencer, who's probably going to be our return guy again if they don't put KJ Hamler back there. Other names we have Tyree Cleveland, Fred Brown, who's somebody that we've brought back a couple times as a Bronco, and then Juwan Winfrey, who right now we don't know what his status is as far as his injury was going, but I think he's going to be good to go for the season. So
I think
like
they said he was
back up
healing.
MMA.
Sounded like he was healing up and was showing face.
Right.
Yep.
good.
But Jared,
well, that's
Jared
that's good.
Jared brings up an interesting point. We've got, there's probably going to be at least 6 receivers that make the team. So you've got Sutton, Hamler, Jeudy, Hamilton, Patrick are your 5. After that, it's, one of those young guys like you were talking about. You've got Cleveland, you've got Brown, you've got Winfrey, Spencer. You're going to have to decide which of those guys offers you the most in the return game. Or if John asks, do you put KJ Hamler back there? They probably, it seems like to me with this coaching staff, they probably want a guy with a little more experience doing that. But he did it a lot in college. If he can show that, and again, this is where no preseason games comes in.
Right.
You can't
totally missing out.
Right. Yeah. You can't see how these guys do with live action, but if he can do it and prove that he can do it without dropping kicks and punts, Hamler might be a really good option back there. So it's going to come down to who can offer the most on special teams as well, I think.
Move on a little bit. Keith asks, we had that up just a second ago. What do you think Jake Butt's chance to make the team is? And we know his story. Great guy, just riddled with injuries the last couple of years.
Right.
I mean,
Jay Booty.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a tough question. And honestly, it's hard because this tight end class, as we move from wide receivers to tight end, this tight end room is so good and so deep, and it's going to be such a difficult decision for the team to make. And the reason I'm gonna say no, he'd make the team, even though he's been playing very well. The reason I'm saying he doesn't make the team is because of his injury past. Right, we've kept him on for this long. He's so injury prone. He gets injured every single year. Is it worth cutting guys like that we just picked up, like Nick Vannett, or a big guy like Fumagalli, to cut for Jake Butt to stick around? Is it worth it, or is it worth having someone like Fumagalli who can stay healthy throughout the year to be that backup? Because again, we're running 3 receiver sets, which means 1 tight end out at all time, and I don't think we're going to move from that other than maybe in like a power package. And we have Noah Fant, Nick Vannett, who we picked up in the offseason, and Okowebanam. That's how you pronounce it.
Excellent pronunciation.
Wow.
Yes.
Very nice.
Really
I
good.
did not practice that before the show. Actually,
Jared, I will bet you anything Jared has a phonetic spelling in front of him as we speak, but still really, really
I
good.
do.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I do. I did my research.
Yeah, but you read it, and that's important. Fantastic.
Oh man, can I get more of those? I feel like those are like gold stars.
Yeah, if you earn more than 1 per episode, maybe we'll cross that bridge when we get there. How about that? But Jared actually makes a really good point. It's just going to be a numbers crunch with this room. You know, they're really going to, I think they're going to stick with Vannett. They just signed him as a free agent this offseason. Obviously, Noah Fant's not going anywhere. Alberto Okowebanam is, not going to probably see a lot of play this year just because he's a rookie tight end adjusting to the system. But as a red zone target, he could see quite a few snaps this year. So it really, after that, becomes a numbers crunch. You've already got 3 tight ends at that point. You keep a 4th, but do you go 5 tight ends on a 53-man roster? You've already exactly.
So one thing to keep in mind is the practice squad this year is up from 10 to 16.
It's true.
And I think I think it was 2 of those players can have unlimited experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you could have someone like Jake Butt there who's had, technically years of experience in terms of how long he's been on the roster. But that is an option. We do have extra spaces back there. So
Right.
maybe not even 4 on the full roster, but you put that 4th one on practice squad. I mean,
Well, and that's, Andrew Beck is another one that you've got to consider as a guy who plays. Not to.
I love our
producer
producer.
Matt.
Our producer is trolling Kev. Yeah.
that's what he's here for. So he's gonna correct me when needed, and hopefully somebody else be our fact checker. But then also provide a little bit of humor, something that I'm not great at doing. But
It's fantastic.
but he loves us anyway.
But a guy like Andrew Beck, who offers you position, flexibility and plays tight end and fullback. This is not a Rich Scangarello offense where you're going to have a dedicated fullback on the roster anymore. You're going to have one guy who can do both, and that's going to be Andrew Beck. So it just makes the numbers crunch for Jake Butt even a little bit tighter, unfortunately. And that's one thing. Yesterday at practice, everybody was talking up Jake Butt, and Drew Lock said nobody's rooting harder for Jake Butt than our locker room right now. Everybody wants this guy to succeed, and I think that's true. It's going to come down to the numbers, unfortunately.
100%. Hey everyone, again, this is Orange Weekly. My name is Kevin. We've got Jared, Ayla, and David here. Go ahead and hit that share button. And again, we are here to talk with you, not at you. So feel free to post some comments, some questions, whatever you want to talk about. And we can definitely go down that route and share some thoughts with you. And again, just hear what you have to think. So wide receiver, tight end, we kind of covered those. Any other last thoughts on those 2 before we move on to some of the other position groups?
I think we've covered them pretty well.
I think so too. But one of the next ones, and actually we did have a question here earlier about the O-line. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Thank you very much, producer Matt. So moving on to like right tackle, center, some of those big battles. I think right tackle is the big one, especially after we lost a pretty big player. But what are we thinking on that side?
Well, so it's looking like right now Wilkinson's the starting left tackle until he's not. Right tackle. He's starting right tackle until he's not. We did sign DeMar Dotson from the Buccaneers, who started there for a long time. I think that's a great depth signing. If nothing else, it provides you with a really quality backup if Wilkinson can't go for whatever reason. Cushenberry has been reliably the number 2 at center, for the first week of practice, and the pads just went on Monday. So, take this with a grain of salt. But they've had Cushenberry consistently running with the twos while they rotate Austin Schlottman and Pat Morris, 2 holdovers from last year at starter. Sounds like Schlottman's got a little bit of an edge as of now, but again, the pads just went on yesterday, so we can't read a whole too much into that right now.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to mention that the Juwan James, opting out of the season. He was the only Broncos player to opt out of the season. Obviously, we understand it's he got a lot of crap on it from social media, but come on, I mean, there's a lot that goes on, and family business is family business. Let him take care of his family business. Yeah. As we move forward, though, we got to think about who's going to be playing his position. Obviously, I mean, how long have the Broncos had a tackle issue? Like, I mean, from as long as I can remember, we've never really had good tackles that we've been able to be trustworthy on. So Elijah Wilkinson, I agree. Elijah Wilkinson's going to step in there, and even DeMar Dotson, after his first practice with the team, had mentioned it's his position to win, which means it's Elijah Wilkinson's position to lose. Right. So they have to battle it out. They're going to have to figure it out. I think Elijah Wilkinson gets it. I honestly think that last year, Elijah Wilkinson stepped up when he needed to. There were some times where he didn't look so hot, but he obviously wasn't running with the ones the whole time. But to David's point, Lloyd Cushenberry, he's going to be the starting center. He's practicing with the number 2s, but so was Jerry Jeudy for a little bit at the beginning of the practices. So we got to take that again with a grain of salt as we're looking at getting some of these rookies acclimated to playing some of these bigger talent players. And if you're talking about guys at center, which is one of the hardest statistics, so it's one of the hardest positions to play is the center position, and it's a very underrated position. I have a lot of love for the offensive line, but it's the center's a very difficult position to play because you are the mold of that offensive line and the person that's calling out the shots for your quarterback. You guys have to have a really good position. So I think eventually it'll turn into him taking the starting job, and I think it is going to happen probably sometime either this week or early next week.
And we did hear Drew Lock talking about the O-line is actually picking up and fitting in extremely quickly. He feels like they're starting to gel already, which, out of his mouth, I think we just have to trust that. He's got a feel for it. So I'll be the first one to have the most faith in the whole thing, but it's like, okay, that's promising. Drew Lock said it. I believe it.
Well, and Locke's going to be such an important part of building chemistry for all of these position groups. And that's the O-line, and that's the wide receivers, and that's the running backs, too. If he's a guy who can lead by example this year, that's going to be so huge for all of the young guys at all of these different positions.
Because don't you think for players it makes such a big difference when your quarterback is a guy that you like, that you're motivated to do, you guys like feed off of each other. So it's like you want to try harder for the other one, and then it just kind of builds on that and gets better and better. So
and another thing a lot of people overlook is that not just the chemistry, but the communication between the quarterback and the offensive line is huge. It's and not just the communication. I guess those two things together, the chemistry of knowing what your quarterback's going to do in a certain situation makes or breaks play. Knowing if your quarterback's going to roll to the right, roll to the left, if they're getting pressured, step up into the pocket, that's huge. And I think if we are going to identify who our starters are going to be, we need to do it now. And I think the longer they get practice, and this isn't just for the Broncos, the whole NFL as a whole, those first couple weeks are going to be shit. They're going to be really, really bad. It's going to look like some high school football plays out there, and it's going to be bad. And I think that's because the chemistry is not being built. We only have a shortened practices, a shortened amount of time to practice, no preseason games. It's going to be difficult.
No rookie mini camps. These people didn't meet, their coaches really until 2 weeks ago or something like that. It's just a totally different offseason from anything we've seen before. It's going to take a while, like you said, Jared.
Yeah. And that's a great question, John. When it comes to Shermer's offense, obviously we have an idea based off, the teams he's ran before and being offensive coordinator and head coach, right? But one thing that we might have seen a little bit from last year, the last 5 games that Locke played, maybe a little hesitant to pull the trigger, and he had some massive passes, right? So I think we're going to expect him to actually push the ball down the field a lot more often. And with a lot more accuracy, especially at this point. I mean, not only has he had the whole offseason, but he's been picking Peyton Manning's brain quite often from what it sounds like. So this guy should have quite a bit of practice and improvement from what we saw last year. And already he was pretty damn good. So I think I'm expecting good things from Shurmur. And I think he's just going to kind of leave it up to Drew Lock to decide what's best on the field. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, so I love Pat Shurmur's offense, and what I like about it is the way that it can flow. It flows like water. So you go up to the line, you let the quarterback make certain calls, which I think is going to be huge for a second-year quarterback in Drew Lock. And what I like about it is that it can flex out the tight end into an offense, into a wide receiver spot, which is they did a lot with. I forget what's the name of the tight end in
Evan Ingram.
Ingram.
Yeah.
Right. So Ingram got most of his catches out of the slot, less out of the tight end position. And we have a guy in Noah Fant who can line up in the slot, and he's almost the exact same build and exact same type of player as Evan Ingram. So that's what I'm looking forward to most in the Pat Shurmur offense. And I think what's going to happen is he's going to, over time, again, first couple of games are going to suck. Let's kind of cage our expectations for the first couple of games. But over time, what you're going to see is letting Drew Lock call more of the shots, including letting in certain pass plays or certain third and longs, third and mediums, letting Noah Fant get out into the flex and throwing the ball to him in on a short route to let him get the ball in his hands and do what he does and make people bounce off of him like he did against Cleveland.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ayla, what are you looking forward to? I mean, when it comes to Drew Lock, man, I can't decide what I'm more excited about seeing from Drew Lock, whether it's his leadership or the passes he's going to make, how he's going to run the team.
Yeah, well, catching some of the camp videos, he's kind of, it's been laying it out. I mean, I wish I was there. I wish any of us could be there. But the video, it makes me excited to see. And they were talking about the way he's throwing now. I think his footwork's getting down a little bit better. But I'm just excited to see his growth, even though we only saw him in a few games last year. I think with any time that you get more experience. And I think I'm just excited for the growth the most.
A lot of good things there. Let's see. John's posting quite a bit of things, and it's fantastic.
Gotta love it, John.
Yeah, no, I appreciate how interactive you're being. And for everyone else watching, again, post those comments, post those questions. If you're watching from a Facebook group, your comments may not be showing up here. In fact, they aren't. So head on over to our main Facebook page, Orange Weekly there, and click the video, and then your comments will be able to pop up. If you're watching from a Facebook group, come on over. Also, everyone, go check out BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. Got the new website up and running. A couple kinks, but we are working that. It's preseason for us as well, so we're working through some of that. But of course, we also got
we get preseason games.
Yeah, exactly. We do at least, so we'll be good to go by the season. No injuries on our side once the season starts, hopefully. So nothing to be too concerned about.
Now that Kevin said it, geez.
Yeah, we don't need anybody on the death chart this year.
No
death chart.
Yeah. See, this is why I'm picking you guys on the beginning when you're muted. Remember, guys, we also have our podcast. Follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all those great places. We'll be posting these videos and some more to the podcast pages. So go follow us there. Give us a like, give us a rating, give us some feedback. That helps us out a ton, and we do appreciate hearing all of your feedback and other ideas in terms of maybe something you want to hear from us more or do less. Maybe it's my face. Maybe I, have a more of a radio face, and that's something we might consider if we hear some comments from it. So anyway,
you have a face for radio and a voice for video, so it's really tough to kind of.
How many comments do you need? Because we have 3 here. So
I'm thinking at least 50.
I could get.
I can get 50 people.
Yeah, we could get.
They all have to be real people. You can't make fake accounts. We go in there and comment. Okay. Anyway, glad you're all here. Hit that share button, and we'll keep talking. Just so you know, we're kind of focused on offense tonight. So if you have a defense question, definitely come back here next week. We will be doing these every Tuesday from here on out. And the week before the first regular season game, the week of the September 8th, we'll be doing our full lineup, and we'll get more into that as we get closer. But we are here and ready to go. Jared does maybe need a little bit more to drink, actually. He gets more and more fun as the booze flows.
And by fun, you mean you can pick on me more because I make ridiculous
Hey,
statements.
it's okay. That's usually what I'm here for. But yeah, also, if you're watching, grab a drink and post some good comments. So Keith says knock on wood as well. Yeah, so we're talking about Drew Lock, and he has, the videos we've seen from Lock already, beautiful throws. I think more important than that, I've heard some really good improvements in terms of his technique and his ability to read what's going on down the field. So when it comes to, his footing and just everything else that goes into making the throw, I think that's what's going to push him to that next level this next year. You got to remember that even though he played 5 games, now all these teams have 5 games worth of tape on him. So you can guarantee that teams are going to be ready to, figure him out. And so what is he going to do to overcome that?
And it'll be like they won't have his growth though. All they have is that they have the very beginning of it. They don't have what he's been learning. And so we've got that in our favor.
Well, and I also,
preseason.
right. And I also want it to, I want to say, just don't, if you're a Broncos fan and you hear he threw, 2 or 3 interceptions in a day, this is the time of year where you want him throwing interceptions. That's the kind, especially with a quarterback as young as he is, with skill talent like he's got, that's also very young. You want him figuring out what those guys can do, what position they're going to be in under certain circumstances, where he can fit the ball in and where he can't. And you want him figuring it out now, because it's not the kind of thing, like we've been saying this entire show, with a truncated offseason like we had, it's not the kind of thing you want him trying to learn by doing in week 1 or 2. You want him to be able to know.
Well, and I think he's got a major advantage. I know we're going to talk about defense later, but playing against our defense, we've got some skill coming into it, and guys that are even on our defense that are excited, about that. And so they're trying as hard as they can, even though they can't sack him. They can't get the interceptions, but it's good for both of them. So I think that he's got that in his favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so here's another thing we got to think about as we cage our expectations for the season. Especially, don't get me wrong, Drew Lock has thrown some really good balls, but there's a difference between being welcome to step up in the pocket, keep your footwork good, focus on that, when you have guys like Von Miller coming at you knowing they can't hit you, and when you get out there with pads against people who are going to try to take your head off. There's a different mentality. There's a different focus there. So there's a little bit of a different, right, and we're in practice, they're going hard, but they're really not. So obviously he's making some beautiful throws. We obviously know he has a great arm on him. What I was interested in this season, these practices this last week, was his reads. How is he reading the field as he's going through his motions with a new Pat Shurmur offense, right? He's got a new playbook. He's got new receivers. He's got, a new offensive line for the most part. Is he making his reads? Is he going through his read progression as he's going through these practices? And so far, it's been very good. He's seeing open, deep receivers. He's taking the shot on open, deep receivers. His mid game seems to be okay. It seems to be there, but not perfect. His short game's obviously great. And as we transition into this next piece, the running back situation, he's throwing a lot more screens, a lot more bubbles, a lot more dump offs to our two top running backs two of the top running backs in the AFC, in Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay.
Which ties into John's comment or question right there. Who's 1A and who's 1B? Because I don't know if we can have technically on the roster there'll be, starting and then, the number 2 running back. But it's we're going to play him 50%, I think. But if you were to think, who has maybe a 1 up on the other, just barely, or, who would it be? Yeah,
me,
normally you have a thunder and lightning combo, right? You have this thunder lightning, and you go there. We have lightning, and I think that's awesome. We have two quick, agile running backs who can get up the field, and I think that's going to be great for our offensive line. It's going to be easier for defenses to plan against us. However, it's very difficult to plan against guys like Melvin Gordon, who's one type of running back into speed, and Philip Lindsay, who's just so small and agile. It's hard to get him down no matter where you're at. So we have this lightning. I honestly, for now, I think I agree. Philip Lindsay, Alpha, and Gordon Bravo. But when we're looking at who's going to start, who's going to get their name called as they come out, like your starting offense for the Denver Broncos, is going to be Philip Lindsay. But I think if you look at it in the long run, and as we get further down the season, you're going to see Gordon taking more snaps. I don't know if he's going to be taking more carries though, and that's just going to be something that we're going to have to watch over time.
See, and
Philip Lindsay's been putting in work too. I mean, I think Coach said he's gained about 10 pounds of muscle. I mean, that's gonna add a whole different layer to that onion, man. Like that dude's a beast. And I think staying loyal to him almost gives him, I mean, I know everybody, it's a team thing, but there's still, it's a position that you can't help but be competitive in football, even within your own team. So he knows it and he's worked for it. And I think they'll stay loyal to Lindsay.
See, I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit of a devil's advocate position, I guess. I'm following the money, and the money says we gave a whole bunch of it to Melvin Gordon this last season, and we didn't give it to him to not be the starter. So to me, that I get it. No, I get it. But
can you run a boo banner? Jeez.
Yeah, where's my boo banner?
I deserve it. No, I deserve it. But I will just, to me, the cynic in me says you paid that guy a ton of money when you already had Philip Lindsay on the roster.
You're not supposed to help him.
Thank you for helping me, Matt, because that contract is a little bit much for somebody who you're just going to ask to be 1B. So to me, it's probably going to be Gordon will be the nominal starter. I would say that the split in carries is probably going to be, 60-40, close to 50-50, somewhere in there. It's not going to be a huge glut for one guy or the other, because both of these guys are absolute weapons in the backfield. But, well, to me, that's what I would say.
So we do have some interesting stats right there, as well as with what John is saying.
Right. So Gordon held out for a lot of the years, so he didn't play the full season, or for a lot of the games, so he didn't play the full season. Lindsay obviously played it very well, but remember, and again, with this Pat Shurmur offense, you don't know. Like we really are. We could sit here and debate it all day, but ultimately, it's going to come down to what does Pat Shurmur and Vic Fangio think. And ultimately, last year, again, we're going off last year. Our running back was who was hot. It wasn't, you gave a couple runs to Lindsay. You gave a couple runs to, I can't remember his name because I'm getting drunk, to Oregon
Royce
Product.
Freeman.
No. Royce Freeman.
Okay.
So you give a couple runs to each of them, and whoever's hot gets the ball for the rest of the day. Now, most of the time it was Lindsay. Sometimes it was Freeman. Sometimes Freeman got the carry, got the call for the rest of the game, which is good. And I think that's how we should approach this. But again, but again, as we go forward, that's what I would like to see. But it's ultimately Pat Shurmur and Vic Fangio's. It's their call.
Right. Look, this is a good situation to be in, though.
Yeah.
Right.
This is
absolutely.
I'm
all for debating. We call it quality problem. Like this. I mean, it's a win-win. I mean, they can use each other if somebody's having a bad day, because let's face it, they're human beings, and sometimes you're on and sometimes you're off. Melvin Gordon was talking about having to get used to the altitude. It's like, yeah, bro, welcome to Mile High. Why do you think the one game a year that you play there is much different than when we play them in California?
Right.
But then you adapt, you get used to it, and then you have it to your advantage as well. It's like, yeah, come on up to the Mile High. Let's play up here.
I mean, let's just run down the weapons on these positions for just a second. Even if you take out all the unproven commodity, and I'm going to put Jerry Jeudy as a proven commodity, because I think his route running is really going to help the team right away. You've got Cortland Sutton.
He's a first-round pick.
Yeah. You've got Sutton, Jeudy, Fant, Gordon, and Lindsay. I mean, take those four guys and nobody else, 5 guys, and nobody else. And you've got a skill position group that most teams in the NFL would love to have.
Yep.
Easily.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, that's one thing. I know we were talking about it earlier, Jared, and I think you're right. It's going to take a couple of years or a couple of weeks, to get this offense acclimated, to get their feet wet. And I think that's going to be around the league. But my goodness, it's like you said, we've got quite a bit of talent at all of these positions. I think that's really, really going to help us in the early going, especially.
Well, and it's not like any other team's getting some sort of advantage.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just diving into the pool head first in the shallow end. Like you're not getting your feet wet. It just jump right in and go.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, it levels the playing field for everybody pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting point. And, David, I think it's a good time to introduce this concept, but I think you're going to be writing an article as we're going forward talking about what the injury situation could look like compared to, was it 2011, the strike?
Yeah. It's
the player strike of 2011. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that article's written here, and it's, we're going to get that posted in the next couple of days here on our website, so definitely check that out. But it's, what we're really looking at right now, and we're starting to see it already a little bit across the league, soft tissue injuries were such a big problem after that 2011 lockout season, just because the ramp-up period and the acclimation period were so fast. So we're going to kind of see that a little bit again this year, and I think we already are. Gerald McCoy, Cowboys DT, is already out for the season. We've also got Artie Burns, cornerback. I can't remember who he's playing for now. He was of the Steelers. I know he's with a different team now, but he just tore his ACL. Matt, that's a different kind of soft tissue problem. We can talk about that a little bit later.
I've missed this so much.
There are prescriptions available, but this is not that kind of podcast.
Unless they want to sponsor us, then all hands just come out to let us know.
It could be that kind of podcast. But anyway, yeah, its depth is gonna be a huge part of this season coming. We saw a 9-7 Giants team beat the 13-3 Patriots in that 2011 season. Just because they had so much depth on the defensive line, they were able to overcome kind of everything else that teams were going through that season because they had crucial depth in a crucial area. And having that kind of depth is going to be the difference, I think, this year between some teams making it and some teams who you thought were going to make it that just don't.
Very true.
Yeah.
So who has luck on their side?
Right. Yeah. Not Indianapolis anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, take out the fact that they literally don't have Andrew Luck anymore. They also have
bad, and you should feel bad.
I do feel bad. You know what? And that's not to take a shot at Andrew Luck, because you know what? You knew when it was time for you to get out of the game, and you did it. Good for you. But they also kind of doubled down on that bad luck by picking up Phillip Rivers, and I think that's just gonna
old man Rivers. I got that
absolutely.
one.
I think that's gonna blow up in their faces to the tune of 15 interceptions easily this year. I'm really excited to see that.
That's a Can you break the 30 for 30?
I don't think anybody can break 30 for 30. That is a record that I hope will stand for a long, long time.
Oh,
that's
man.
insane.
That's a good record.
It is
That's
a good record. Yeah. I don't know if Jameis Winston would say it's a good record, but
right.
Starting quarterback's opinions only, please.
Yeah.
He's just straightforward about it.
Yeah.
Ouch, indeed. Oh, man. Hey, before we move on, everyone, a couple other quick announcements other than follow us on all of our podcast channels. Give us a rating. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well. One of the new things we're going to be doing this year, we will be broadcasting a couple of these preseason shows. At least I'll be there, and I think David as well, from Cork and Keg in Castle Rock, Colorado. We'll give you some more information on them next week when I'm there.
So jealous.
It's amazing. They're going to have their 2-year anniversary party coming up here soon. So we'll be out there if you want to come by and support us in Castle Rock at Cork and Keg. And then also David and I are going to be broadcasting about one game a month from there as well. So if you don't want to listen to the announcers because they suck, you can at least listen to us and we'll probably suck too, but at least we'll be a little more entertaining because
it's
we
going to
don't
be
have to
fun.
worry about cursing and everything. So something else to have on the background at least. So watch out for that information. It is going to be fantastic to do that for you guys, and hopefully see some of you come by. So with that, just something else to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. We really hope to see you out there. If not, that's okay. Kevin and I are more than capable of entertaining each other and ourselves.
And
but,
drinking.
Or there'll be some drinking. But yeah, come on
Right.
out,
Hey,
We're at a bar. Of course we are.
And neither of you are pregnant, so go for it.
That's true. Well, not yet. But,
What do you mean not yet?
keep your fingers crossed for me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm trying. I'm just saying.
David, don't do it out of wedlock.
Okay, Ayla.
So yes,
Thanks,
John,
Mom.
alcohol makes it way more fun, and this is exactly why.
Yeah.
David,
oh,
don't
man.
do it. I told you not to get pregnant out of wedlock.
Don't make any bastards.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
once again, if you're watching from a Facebook group, come on over to our main Facebook page, watch the video from there, and that's where we'll be able to see your comments. So appreciate all of you tuning in. But I think one of the next questions I want to ask is if you're John Elway or Vic Fangio right now, and you're looking at the offensive roster, where are you concerned? We have a lot of bright spots, but in terms of depth or maybe somebody who's, we don't have many choices with, where is your number one concern?
Right tackle.
Offensive line in general.
Offensive line in general. I mean,
The quarterback too. I mean, the Jeff Driscoll. I know, and no,
David, we got yelled at last time we talked shit about Drew Lock. Be careful.
Listen, I am not here to talk shit about Drew Lock. I'm talking depth. All right, that's a difference.
depth. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, no team, with the possible exception of the New Orleans Saints, and I know I just got done making fun of Jameis Winston, but no team besides possibly the Saints runs too deep at quarterback. It's just not a thing you can do. But I will say Jeff Driscoll does not inspire a ton of confidence if he has to play a couple of games, 2, 3, 4 games this season. It's not going to go well.
I want to pause that for one quick second because while we are talking about some of the new things we have coming up this season, DB4L45 from Twitter is asking about some of seeing any games, and I think that's something we were talking about.
Yes.
Earlier, at least I was with, I think Jared and I were talking about it. But this ties back into what Dave and I are going to be doing. But something else that I want to tie this into is Jared, and put you on the spot and talk about Ray's Ragers. Because I think what we're going to need this year is something to supplement maybe not all of us being able to go to the games. And so we have a couple different options there. So if you want to lay down kind of what that's all about.
Jared has absolutely no idea.
This is like your thing, man.
I get it. I'm processing.
You're watching from Twitter. I didn't want to put you off. So I think that's something that we want to talk about.
I'm trying to process the question here. So,
what is
to
Ray's
answer his
Ragers?
question? Right. No, I want to answer his question first. Do we see fans coming up in the season? And yes, I do see fans coming up later in the season. I don't see many. I see us kind of working up to what we're going to get to. I don't think this year we're ever going to see a full stadium. Not this year. I think in the future we might see a full stadium maybe next season, depending on how we do as a country going forward and what kind of test results we're getting back. Ragers, though, however, so we have a lot of really cool ways here at Orange Weekly that you can be interactive, not just with watching the games with David and Kev at the bar, or watching it online and listening to their commentary, which is probably going to get more ridiculous as the game goes on as they start drinking.
Oh, yes.
But the other thing we have too is we're gonna start up a new thing this year, guys, and we're really excited about it. It's called Ragers. So we've been doing it last year. We did a little bit at the beginning of the season, but this year we're gonna be consistent every year. Every week, me and Ray are gonna sit down, and Ray is much better at this betting thing than I am. I lost, I don't know, probably a couple $100 on Noah Fant last year because I thought that he could catch more than 30 yards.
God.
Yeah.
The weeks I didn't bet on Noah Fant, he went off, and the weeks we're not going to get into that.
I agree with you, David. I'm on the same side. I get you. So Ray is much better at this, and he wins a lot of money over time. If I would have just listened to him, I probably would have done better. But so me and Ray are gonna sit down. We're gonna go over what the bets are for the week, what the bets are for the year, what the bets are for not just the Broncos, maybe a couple other bets if you want to put on some side stuff. And obviously this is just free advice from Raymond, who's made pretty good money off of what the Broncos have done, and it's all Broncos based. So even if you just want to listen in and see what kind of lines there are and kind of root for that over the time, or at your home party, make some bets at the home party. You let us know. Either way, I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year. And Rager's going to come out to you every week. It's going to be released on Saturday because that's when the lines come out. So be on the lookout for that.
If we do go to a game, we'll let you all know. But at the end of the day, what I think we're really pushing for is we are here to try and connect to all of you as much as possible, especially through, not many fans, if any, it's not decided yet, are going to be at the game. So you can count on us to provide you some fun content and help stay connected, not just with us, but the rest of Broncos country. So lots of fun things coming up this year, guys. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it won't matter if we're in the stands, out of the stands. It's just we keep going at it. We're just gonna watch. I mean, I dream of going to games every year since I don't live in Colorado anymore. It was one of my favorite things to do in Southern California, and now I'm in Washington State. But it doesn't stop me from watching, y'all. We just keep going forward no matter what. And our players, they are gonna ball out no matter what. Whether people are there or not. I know it always helps, but there's something about that stadium and just being in Colorado, period. So when people come, when other teams come and we play games in Denver, we're going to have the advantage no matter what.
Yep.
I think so. And here's the other thing too. Orange Weekly is going to be with the whole year. So regardless of what happens, stick with us, and we will try to bring as much entertainment, whether it's self-incrimination or not. We'll bring lots of entertainment to you guys throughout the year, and I think that's what we're most excited for. I think we got a great team this year. We have a team that is possibly definitely playoff contenders, and going forward we have a young team that we really could do a lot of really cool things with. So stick around. We're going to, and that's what's going to happen.
Sandy, how you doing? Aloha.
Oh, that's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Sandy. Awesome. Fantastic.
Talk about the biggest Broncos fan. I just need to tell you guys, she lives in Hawaii, and we have the coolest outdoor man camp ever. I mean, it is one of the best places to watch a football. You're just with your pina colada or whatever you want that's all tropical, or just whiskey, whatever. And it's awesome. She's diehard through and through. She moved to Colorado when she was really young. She's been a Broncos. That's why I'm such a big Broncos fan. She's awesome.
I love it.
Well, she raised you right.
So
if you raise your
we
fan,
get a picture
of a Chiefs fan, then you're doing it wrong. So they very clearly did it right.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Can we get a picture of that outdoor and post on our social media pages?
Heck yeah.
If you can get one, let's post it on our social media pages after this. Let's see. I want to see this. This is cool.
Yeah, now, I mean, my bio picture is in the man camp. So if you go to our website, if you go to orangeweekly.com, check out our bios. I'm in man camp, decked out. It's a dream. Plus, you're in Hawaii.
Right. You got that going for you.
Yeah, which is always nice.
Right.
Now, Matt just put a fun fact up on the board, and that made me really curious to see if anybody else could name more than one of the players. Only 4 Broncos have more than 10 years of NFL experience right now. Besides Von Miller, who do you guys got?
10 years?
Yeah.
Kareem Jackson?
Oh, very nice.
That's a good guess, yeah.
How long has Callahan been in?
Brandon McManus.
Okay.
McManus.
But not AJ Boyd.
What? No?
No, okay.
Brandon McManus hasn't been in the league for 10 years. Holy shit. Okay.
KC.
Well, because Vaughn just hit 10 this year.
John Elway.
Thanks, Mom.
I think John's got it. Yeah, that's absolutely.
Casey. Casey's a good call.
Yep, absolutely. I think those are the ones. I can't think of anybody. I know Melvin Gordon hasn't been here that long.
The new tall guy.
Dodson.
The tall guy.
The
Down
new
for
tall
the
guy.
win.
No, it is. Yep. Dodson, Casey, Jackson.
Which
Wow.
he set a
So I
record
was right
for
on
the
Kareem
tallest
Jackson.
Bronco.
Who did?
The tallest Bronco.
Yeah, 6'9". DeMar Dodson.
Okay. All right.
Really?
That's a tall man.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like where we're going here because we did a couple trivia nights throughout the offseason here,
Those were
and
fun.
somehow
They
I
were
kept
fun.
beating Jared, and I just want to make sure everyone knew that I always beat Jared. I never was in
I
last.
thought we weren't going to bring that up.
Yeah,
What?
it's there.
I thought-
It's out there.
The
I didn't
problem
think we were going to bring that up.
right. The problem words in that sentence, Jared. You thought.
Oh,
Yeah. That's,
obviously, it didn't work out for
Jared's
the
like,
trivia night either.
yeah.
Oh,
You gotta
man.
capitalize sucks there, Matt, and we're basically
Oh, man.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
funny.
here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
He's going to help us out here.
there. Definitely.
All right.
Hey, before we start wrapping up the show, everyone, there we go.
Much better. Okay.
Much better. I approve.
Yep.
We have the best producer.
69.
We have the best
Lot of
producer. He is fantastic. I love this.
Apparently, answering 69 to half your answers is not a good trivia strategy.
Not
Maybe on
always.
some trivia shows. Maybe on some.
But not this one.
Not this one.
Not this one.
Hey, let's go around. So I know we focused a lot on offense tonight. Next week, we'll be doing a lot more of defense, special teams, and maybe focus a little bit more on just team-wide, off-season or training camp notes, anything noteworthy. Because at that point, we'll be 3 weeks away from week one.
Yeah.
So time is closing in fast, and things are going to get moving here real soon. So, yeah, John asked a good question. Who does wear number 69 on the Broncos? Here's another trivia question for you, Jared.
I think I might
The
know.
question is 69. What is the answer?
Is it 69? No, I got it.
John's got us figured out. I like it. Okay, hey, we
I
talked
got
about
it. Jake.
It's Jake Rogers. I knew it.
Jeez, he's
Of course you knew it. He gave you the fucking answer.
I would have known that.
sitting there.
If you read that and didn't know it, you're the idiot.
Okay, Jared. Mhm.
Oh God, this is good. Okay, let's go around and just kind of close out on the offensive side of the ball. Yes.
It's happened before.
And it will happen again.
Oh yes, we'll have to
Yep.
do another one at some point. Maybe
Oh,
in
yeah.
the bye week or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, so for offense, at least for me, we got a lot, and I've said this earlier in the show. We have a lot of bright spots, a lot of promise. I want to cap, at least for me, what I'm doing is I'm capping my expectations. Yes, I expect them to go out there and just, impress us like we haven't impressed since Peyton Manning left. Because, really at this point, it doesn't take much. Thanks, Joe Flacco. But at the same time, it's going to take a couple of years for this group to grow. And then also, the first 4 weeks are going to be messy for all of the teams. And hopefully, knock on wood, we can get out of there pretty much injury-free for the most part. But this is something that I'm excited to watch for the next 5-6 years. As this team really develops, get a lot of experience under their belt, and hopefully stay together as a team while they're so, just new in general. So this is something longer than just this year. This is going to get better and better and better, I really believe. So that's kind of my overall big picture thought about the offense is we're in for a ride, guys. We're in for a hell of a ride.
Well, you're not capping my bottle boiling.
Look, I've been
excited.
the optimistic guy in the past,
I
and it's
think we've
always
got a
bitten me
lot
in the
going
ass.
for us. I think the O-line's going to
What did you
seem
say?
together. I think we've got a lot of hope in these wide receivers. I think we got a lot going for us on the offense. I believe in luck, but we do need some depth at quarterback because nobody wins with a Band-Aid backup. Let's be serious.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was saying that I used to be the overly optimistic one here at Orange Weekly. Jared's kind of since taken over that role. But whenever I was the overly optimistic one, it always bit me in the ass. So I figured I'm going to pull back a little bit and
I'll gladly
Just
take
be-
that torch.
if
If you
Jared
guys
is
need
here-
somebody to
if
be
Jared is
like
here,
the
I'm
overly
just gonna be
optimistic,
here.
I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be a little less than Jared, and then I'm not voted the most optimistic of us all. Anyway, that's my little diatribe.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'm really excited to see how KJ Hamler gets used in these first couple of games. Not so much because I think that will show where his progression is, but I think that will show what Pat Shurmur thinks of this offense, how he deploys weapons that he thinks might not be ready to see a full-time starting role, but can still help this offense do what it wants to do week in and week out, which is score points. So I will be really interested to see what he does with weapons like KJ Hamler.
If you're listening to this on the podcast and you're just hearing us laugh randomly out of nowhere, you have got to come on Tuesday nights and watch our shows because you are missing all the fantastic behind the scenes commentary our producer Matt is putting on the scrolling ticker underneath the video. Apparently, I mean it's tough to get taller than me, but
and by tough he means very, very easy.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
my daughter's 4 months old, and I feel like she's already almost catching up to,
She's on the
to
way.
Kev.
She's on the way.
So yes, that's why we're laughing really just randomly. But you're gonna have to come check it out. Anyway,
how Shurmur deploys young weapons like a KJ Hamler and a Jerry Jeudy is going to tell me a lot about what we're going to see from the rest of this offense for this year.
so would you say that your expectations are capped to some degree?
Let's say they're capped a little bit higher than your height, but a little bit lower than my height. So we're right in between you and I. Maybe at like an A-level is where my expectations are.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a great height.
It's a really good height. Like fantastic, you would say.
Oh man. So I want to touch on what both Ayla and David said here. First of all, in the backup Driscoll, you said things, I'm sure. So
it's hard for a guy as tall as Jared to touch on the things you said, Kevin.
Right, I can't hear you up here.
There it is. There it is.
So first of all, Ayla mentioned, and okay, Kev, you mentioned this before we end up kind of breaking, but the Driscoll situation, the backup at quarterback, I honestly don't think having Driscoll as a backup is a bad thing. Yes, he's a Band-Aid, but aren't most backups a Band-Aid? Like, let's be honest, like the concept of a backup quarterback is to have a Band-Aid in case the starting quarterback gets hurt. If we have a backup, no one's expecting that backup to go win a Super Bowl unless you're Philadelphia, right? So that's kind of how that works out for you. We're not expecting Jeff Driscoll to take us to the fucking Super Bowl. And I don't think we're expecting Jeff Driscoll to take us 10 games through the season. If Drew Lock does get hurt, we might have to go through other options to find another quarterback. But Jeff Driscoll is a good 1, 2, maybe 3 game Band-Aid for if we need that, and that's what a backup quarterback is. That's not true. Who said that? Is that?
Let's see how far Chicago.
Your offense is only really as good as your backup quarterback. I think that must be a quote from what was it?
That's
man,
Charlie Casserly. That's Charlie Casserly. The most important position on your team is your quarterback, and the second most important position on your team is your backup quarterback. It's a thing. But, let's see how far Chicago gets with the Nick Foles experiment this year.
Right. Excuse me. Nick Foles is a championship quarterback. So
yes, all right. Well, Joe Flacco was a Super Bowl MVP, Jared. So
yeah. Well, you're right. All of these things have happened.
True. Yes, all of those are true.
So while we're talking about this, David, KJ Hamler, how you think he's going to be employed in the first couple of games? Did you say first couple of games or first couple like first 4 or 5 weeks?
I'd say first 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, before I.
Okay, first couple of games. I don't think he gets a touch.
Yeah, okay.
I think he maybe gets one screen, one easy ball to him to see what he can do in open field. I don't think he gets much after that. I think eventually we're going to see KJ Hamler move into the offense and move into roles that they can find ways to get him the ball. But right now, the offense, the way that it's set up, does not have a position for KJ Hamler.
I'll bet you any amount of money. Go ahead. I'll bet you any amount of money KJ Hamler gets at least one jet sweep in weeks 1 or 2.
Oh, I said that. I said it's going to give him an easy thing to see if we can do an open field. I said that. Do you listen?
You said something like that. We're going to get on.
No, I said.
Yeah, David's going to be
him
the one
easy
that's
ball.
correct. I'm
Yeah,
going to
thank
vote
you.
him
Yeah.
to be
Is this
the
going to be able to be a rager bet?
We're
Like,
saying
you
the
guys,
same
like-
fucking thing. What on earth is?
I'm putting my money on David.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with David too.
I don't think we're saying the same
John's on
fucking.
board. Ayla's on board. Kevin's on board.
I said. I did.
It's enough.
He's gonna get the ball in the first 3 weeks. He gets the ball 3 times, guaranteed.
3 times. That's your no over under 3 times. Once a week.
3
All
or
right,
under.
no.
3 or under.
Okay. All right, I'll take that bet. Let's make it.
So
we'll make it an under.
it's set at 4. It's set at 4.
Yep.
So I'm taking the under.
And I'm taking the over. No, it's set at 3.5.
We'll
It's
have
set
Ray
at 3.5.
3.5. Right, 3.5.
Okay. All right.
We'll have Ray track this, and he can cover it on his.
We're going to be tracking
there.
So
So
it's going to get tracked.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I'll get Ray on this. Ray's gonna track this.
Oh no, it's going to get tracked. Absolutely.
This is gonna happen. I don't care about Vegas. Vegas has their own odds. I'm making mine right now.
Right now.
Right
Absolutely.
now.
Right
so,
now.
All right.
really quickly with that, I don't remember if we actually touched on it, but is Hamler going to be a specialist when it comes to kick return, special teams, or are we going to give him that chance in the offense to grow?
No, we mean on offense, right?
On
I don't
offense,
care.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
if he ends up being the kick returner over Spencer, that's fine. I get it and I understand why. But on offense, on an offensive unit, he's gonna get less. He's gonna get 3 or less touches.
And I agree with Jared, except for the number of touches. But if he does if he is starting kick returner or punt returner, that's going to say an awful lot about what he showed this coaching staff in training camp, that they felt comfortable moving on from a veteran like like Spencer, who was really, really good last season in that role.
Absolutely.
For a rookie who is electric, but rookies sometimes they drop the ball. It just is a thing that happens. So like I said, if he shows the coaching staff that they can do it, it's an awful lot of trust that they're showing in him.
Fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. We already have bets. Internal bets in the season.
Yeah,
hasn't
no,
even
this is
started.
happening.
The
Team
season hasn't-
Puffball versus Team Visor.
right.
I'm just gonna say
Okay.
this starts. We haven't. Even, this
Team
is
Visor
the first
versus
show
Team
of the
Puffball.
season, and we already have a Team Puffball versus Team Visor. This is.
We'll put a vote out on Instagram and stuff.
I was going to put it a different way. We haven't even started the season, and Jared's already wrong about something. So, that's really good for me. Yeah.
Wait, what am I wrong about?
The thing we were just talking about just now.
No, what? I'm not wrong though. It hasn't even come about yet. We don't even know. You know you're wrong. Don't get me wrong. We're doing this. This is happening. Team Visor only has one person. That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
That's not true. I wear visor for golf, so.
Yes, but
Team
you wear a
Visor.
puffball, but
That's
you wear a
not-
puffball
I don't think that's
for
what
all
she's
the
saying.
important stuff.
No, I heard Team Visor.
We're going to talk about this off the air.
Only if it's elastic on the back.
There you go. Oh, it is. Yep. Yep.
I'm playing tennis later as soon as I learn how.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Classy. Okay. Any last comments around the horn there, Jared?
No, we have a great season this year. Thank you guys for sticking around through this as we get closer to the season and into the season. Thank you guys for following us and continuing to follow us. I definitely appreciate everything. Make sure you follow all of our Instagram, Twitters, Reddits, Twitch, YouTube, MySpace, whatever we have. Make sure that we're following those and keeping up with us. I appreciate all of your guys' support as we go through into our 5th year. We're heading into our 5th year as a company. So thank you guys so much for continuing to follow us.
You really keep an eye on our MySpace presence this year, guys. I think we're going to be expanding that exponentially. Facebook, Twitter, Instantgram, as I like to call it. Make sure you hit us up on that Instantgram if you need us instantly. A good question from John here to close out in 2020. Over under for Drew Lock's passing yards, 37.50. I'm
taking the over.
I'm taking the over too. With the number of weapons available to him and what we saw out of him last year, I'm going to take the over 16.
And the new offensive coordinator, over for sure.
Yep.
I'm not a betting type, so.
That means Kevin doesn't understand the answer.
Right.
Kevin doesn't understand the question.
Huh? Wait. Oh, Drew Lock? Oh, I thought we were
that
talking
guy.
about something else. Okay.
Okay.
Drew Lock. Oh, well then, yeah. I mean, if he's a quarterback, sure.
What more?
And
That's
more.
More.
Ayla, closing thoughts to you. Since David and Jared keep going back and forth, which is hilarious, but
We could go on.
More. That's all you got?
I can't believe I agreed with Kevin on this. Like,
what? That's it. I'm done. I'm out.
Yep.
no, I'm just what I want to say is I'm grateful to be a part of the team, and I think we're gonna have a great year here. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope our team stays healthy, and I just can't wait for some Broncos football.
And
Oh, yes.
really, keep an eye on our website, guys, BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. We're going to have written content for you every single week. I'm going to be doing a column. Matt's going to have a mailbag. We're going to have you guys submitting questions to that, and he's going to go deep dive every single week for you on a few questions. So please, please, please keep an eye on our website. Give us a review on Spotify or on iTunes. That helps our visibility so much.
The reviews help a lot. Come and follow us on Instagram. We got some fun stuff going on. We're going to do some giveaways. So Orange Weekly on Instagram. Come check us out. Definitely give us a follow. And come have some fun with us. Come win some prizes. Come be a part of our team because we are. You fans, all the fans, we're all on the same team.
Look, not to diss other pages and other video, groups and podcasters, but here at Orange Weekly, I mean, yes, it's us doing the shows, but really all you viewers and everybody who likes watching and tuning in and listening to the podcast, that's what we're really all about. So it's everybody.
Our slogan is fans, brews, and Broncos news. There's a reason that fans comes first.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So appreciate all of you.
Jared? All about fans.
Fans.
Yeah, and then brews. We got to remember that.
And Bruce.
Gotta drink.
Let's see how the season goes.
The longer the season, the harder the drinks.
That's in the past, maybe not this year. We'll see. Last thing, everyone. Again, thank you. Dave and I are going to be calling some games live from Cork and Keg in Castle Rock, Colorado. So whether you're driving through from Denver or wherever, if you're here in Castle Rock, go check them out. We will be there. At least I'll be there. Maybe David next Tuesday night, broadcasting from there during this next week's show. And again, we are starting our season off now. So we are here every Tuesday night, and then the week before the regular season starts is when we're going to ramp up to our full schedule of all the shows and all the podcasts. In the meantime, go give us some support, give us some ratings online, check out our website. Tons of stuff coming out for all of you this next year because, again, that's why we do this, for the fans. Awesome. Okay, I think it's time to sign off. Ayla, David, Jared, thanks for all your support tonight. Good chatting with you all.
Good to be here, Kevin.
great time.
Go Broncos.
As always, go Broncos.
Go
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone.